everybody. Welcome back to Live with Kyrus. Again, this Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the new year. Welcome. And we've got new guests on today. Okay, we got Tremaine and Lulu Harvey.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Please don't be so modest. Y'all normally see them in the comments going back and forth. So I cannot wait for AKA Hot Sauce and AKA Maine to get on here and tell y'all some good stories today. We've got Jonelle Bells, Indy, and Brian, soon to be Lewis. Okay. Aaron and Kelsey Brave. And last but certainly not least, my parents, Brian and Kyrus Whitehurst. And we welcome you to Live with Kyrus. So excited to have you guys here today. Can't wait to get into some tough topics. We're talking about closeness, openness, and, you know, are women the weaker vessel? Ladies, what do y'all think about that weaker vessel term? Nobody has anything to say.
I start if you want me to.
Go ahead, Lulu.
I'll start if you want me to.
If you want me to, I'll start. I don't want no problems. But yeah, so for weaker vessel, in my opinion, I don't feel like we're the weaker vessel. I just think that I would say emotionally, we should be treated delicately. So I wouldn't say I'm weak. I would say just delicately, treat me like a flower, delicately.
Okay. We're going to go treat me like a flower, delicate. Okay, so when we're coming from Dr. Emerson Eggerich's book, The Love She Most Desires and the Respect He Desperately Needs. And when he speaks about the women being the weaker of the two, he's saying weaker in terms of weaker within the relationship. Like the husband's views, his opinions, his thoughts, his words can come off strong to a woman. You know, that it gives him more of a sensitive out of the two. He wasn't calling women weak, and neither does the Bible. So I think that's important that we go ahead and just squash that right now. We're not calling any of the ladies weak on here tonight, but we're just saying that's the weaker of the two within the marriage. So he was saying treat the woman like porcelain, and men are kind of like copper bowls. So if you drop a copper bowl, you know, y'all can take some bumps and some bruises, but we need to be handled with care. So we're going to go ahead and just get right into it. Gio is on here. Hey, Gio.
Come on, PK. No.
Until they get sick, Bree.
Right. Until they get sick. That's very true. Because Daddy, when he gets sick, he has to have his soup heated up on the stove. He does not want his soup in the microwave, and he can tell the difference.
Oh my God.
And he can't. Even though we did a test, and he really can't tell the difference.
I can tell.
No, you can't tell. You can't. Anyway, but we're not going to go there tonight. Hey, Martia. So, okay, I want to go ahead and get started with this first question. So, according to Colossians 3:19, what can a husband do to guard against coming across as bitter or harsh? And when we read Colossians 3:19, it says, husbands, love your wives with an affectionate, sympathetic, selfless love that always seeks the best for them, and do not be embittered or resentful towards them because of the responsibilities of marriage. So what could a husband do to not come off bitter or harsh? Because let's be honest, marriage is a little bit tough. There are different challenges in marriage, and things aren't always easy. So you do sometimes have a little bit of an attitude. So what is one thing, I want to hear from the guys, what's one thing that you guys could do or would recommend to a younger male and say, okay, look, you need to act this way or treat your wife this way? What's something that you would recommend? Deacon Byrne, we're going to go with you first, and then Tremaine, Aaron, and then we're going to hit up B. Lou.
Okay, what I have learned since last week, I used to go off counting to like 10 before I reply. Now I think 25 is a good number because it gives you time to slow down, think about your response, think about the way you're going to respond.
Right.
Think about
that's good.
Think about the tone you're going to use if it's going to be upsetting or aggressive, and then speak. But in the meantime, women think you ignoring them because you're pausing to get yourself together before you come off with the rap.
But does that make sense, though, that we could feel that way? Let's be fair.
I can see how the pause will bother you. You think I'm not going to respond, but I'm going to respond. But I'm just trying to make sure I don't have the edge on me to come across wrong. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna let that one go. That was good, Daddy. Taking your time to respond back. Tremaine, what's something that a man could do to not come off bitter or harsh?
First of all, I think us as men needs to appreciate our wives, our girlfriends, our significant other, and most importantly, we need to treat them as human beings instead of treating them like property. So what I mean is,
Yes,
we need to
sir.
let them exercise how they feel, and we need to be there and just listen. And that's something that you learn over time. You know, the young Tremaine running wild. I wasn't really the best listener. I wasn't really the best husband, but every day we're growing. So one thing that the advice that I would give to the younger guys out there that's in marriage, you're not always right. And stop pointing the finger at your significant other and just look in the mirror sometimes, because listen, I know I'm cool, calm, and collective, but I'm going to tell you right now, this woman put up a lot with me. So like I tell her all the time, if you can work with me, I'll work with you. And I'm not going to be yelling at you. If you feel like you need to yell, and this is her favorite line right here, guys. I'm not yelling at you, Tremaine. I'm yelling at the situation. Well, the situation can't hear you.
What?
The situation can't hear you. But yeah, most importantly, I just want to close and say, treat them like humans, not as property. You don't own them. If they want to go somewhere, let them go. If they want to do something, let them do it. It's okay. That's not your property. And they'll respect you more for that.
Okay, that was good. That was really good. That's true, because we do sometimes feel like, I feel like, especially with the chase, you know, so you get the girl, y'all are all lovey-dovey in the beginning and talking a lot, and you want to be open and you're telling her your whole life story, and then you get her and you kind of put her on the shelf. So it's kind of get her and quit her, but not, because you're still together. So that's true. I mean, I think that was that's a good point right there. Okay. Hey, Terry Benjamin. Hey, Troublemaker. Okay, Aaron, you're up.
Repeat the question one more time for me.
Oh my God. Okay, so the question, according to Colossians 3:19, what can a husband do to guard against coming across as bitter or harsh? And Colossians 3:19 says, husbands, love your... You need me to read that?
Well, I'm reading for everybody else that doesn't have their Bibles present or something.
Aaron?
I'm saying,
okay.
Watching.
It says Colossians 3:19 is, husbands, love your wives with an affectionate, sympathetic, selfless love that always seeks the best for them, and do not be embittered or resentful towards them because of the responsibilities of marriage. So, Aaron, what is something that a guy could do to not come across as harsh or bitter?
Woo-wee. All right, for the men, what we could do is approach everybody with our wives and significant others with grace. Have grace for them.
Right.
You know, make sure you see that you're not perfect yourself. But I really just always fall back on 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind, and you know the rest. But it's just so true. And I just fall back on that. And also to come across, like I said, we really have to have grace for one another. The Bible tells us to have grace for our significant others and have grace for these circumstances, because we're gonna face many troubles. But one of the ones that I wanted to mention too is James 1:19. It says, "So then, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God." So you got to be quick to listen, slow to speak. That's my 2 cents on that one right there. In love.
Okay, B. Lou, that was good, Aaron. That was good, Aaron. B. Lou, what's your take on it? What could a husband do to not come across as bitter, angry, resentful, frustrated, not so harsh?
So I'm going to use an example or two, because everybody really touched on a lot of specific things that I was going to say in my own words, kind of. But me and Indy, every single holiday, we always cook something. So and we're always cooking something together. I mean, there's times where she'll be helping me and I'll be like, oh no, don't do it that way, or don't do it this way. But then she'll be like, dang, like, you're being really mean, And it's like, really, I wasn't even trying to do that. I was just trying to tell her, hey, do it this way or whatever. So I think that how you word things, that could have been like, hey, you're doing a really good job, you know, just maybe try it this way or that way. You know? So how you actually present it, you know, it can not sound as harsh or sound like you're bossing her around or that she's doing a bad job. So
right, because in my house we use 5 cups of sugar in our stuff, and you might use 2.
Right.
Exactly. So I think with how you present, you know, whatever you're trying to say, you don't have to be so harsh. So.
Hey, but at the end of I gotta say this. At the end of the day, it's a two-way thing. That's all I gotta say. It's a two-way thing.
Well, we're not counting it. We're not counting it out.
And no matter what, y'all have to have that conversation. That hey, way I'm communicating, you gotta have communication kind of conversation that talks.
Or sometimes you gotta be harsh. You just be like, hey, get out the kitchen.
Right.
That's my favorite phrase.
Get out.
Well, my thing is too. I'm just gonna say one thing. Women have to stop being so extra sensitive. Sometimes you gotta know your spouse. You gotta know who you're dealing with. And I can say something and really not be saying it wrong, but it just be taken wrong.
True. I'm with you, sir. But the book said not to say that. So,
but coming from the ladies, because it's our turn. It's the ladies' turn now. Ladies, what is something that you would recommend to a young guy out there who's dating or getting married? What's something you would say if they came to you for advice? What's something you would say to say, hey, when a situation arises, or maybe even if you're frustrated about work or about something outside of the home, how should you come home and approach a situation? Or how should you come home even when you've got stress out there? What could you do so that you don't come off that way, you know, to your wife? Pookie, I'm going to go with you first. Jonelle Bales.
Well, first, I would just like to say, don't come home and call me sensitive.
I know that's right.
Overly.
She's still going from last week.
Y'all better leave Pookie alone.
That's my girl.
But no, really, I think just from your example, as far as coming home from a hard day's work or what have you,
right?
You always hear people say, you know, leave it at work, leave it at the job, or leave it at your homeboy's house. Don't bring it home. And sometimes that is impossible. But I just think about what you're coming home to.
Okay.
You know.
Yes. Think about what you're coming home to.
Yes. Yes. So start as you open your car door and you're taking your first step. Start with the grace that you're going to have when you come in. Start with the slow to speak when you come in. Start with that's not my property when I come in. That's my wife or my significant other. Start with all that in the nutshell before you even come in the front door. Just think about what you have at home and think about how you want to be treated when you step in the door. With the grace and the respect and the slow to speak and what have you. I'm just going to leave it at that. And just don't call me sensitive.
Oh.
Bree, I like to add to that. Honestly, I mean, a cool way to just, like, when we talk about certain things, like in politics and in the world, everything that's going on right now, we don't mix church and state. So, like, that's kind of like, don't mix your, like, home life with your business life. Learn to separate the two. And know the difference when you come home or I come home or something. I know that whatever my boss did to me or whatever made me mad, I'm not going to fight you about the problem. Maybe you can help give me a different view of what's really going on. Plus, I always like to tell people, don't come on mouthing to me and you ain't have the same mouth to your boss or whoever got on your and macho with me, but you ain't say it to them, you know? So, but honestly, it's really like you have to learn to separate the two. That's why people have a hard time when they work from home, how to separate it, and they're always working because they don't know that this is a sanctuary now, and it is part of the spouse's duty to make it a house of peace and a house of prayer and a house of just somewhere to recover and regroup and refresh yourself.
That's good. Sharita said, be engaged, take interest in your significant other's day. That's good because sometimes he would just say, hey, and you ask them how they were, and they never get around to asking you how you're doing. So I completely understand that. Okay, Kelsey, what do you have to say? What's something that you would recommend, or what's one thing you tell a young guy or a married man that's kind of trying to figure out how to handle things?
Well, I agree with everything everyone's saying. Definitely treat others like how you want to be treated, just going back to like the golden rule. And also, I would say don't like dismiss her feelings. You know what I mean? If from your perception you think she's being too sensitive or overly sensitive or whatever, I wouldn't just jump and be like, just assume that's what she's doing. You know what I mean? So just don't dismiss her feelings, because that's going to make it worse. It's not going to make it better. She's not going to react in a better way from doing that. Right. So maybe just try to understand where she's coming from, or maybe why she sees you as being harsh or whatever. I don't know. Just try to have understanding. That's a good one.
That's good. But that's good. And it still allows you to think the best of that person and just be like, look, maybe they had a tough day too, or maybe I could come in and say something to help them, or, you know, it takes your mind off of everything else. Lulu, what do you have? What's something that you would
Lord, please.
Anyway, so first of all, just everyone has great points. And so my thing is, when I take from this whole thing, because I used to be that person to come in, like Tremaine said, yelling at the world, and it didn't create a peaceful environment. But thank God Tremaine's the ice to my fire, because he's very patient. He's very patient. And there's times where I have really come at him and was like, but it wasn't really, like I said, it ain't towards you. I'm just mad.
It's the situation that
I'm yelling at. I did say that, but I want to put this out there. So even though the situation to the person who's listening, whether it's the female or the male, whoever's listening, it doesn't, just because it's not a big deal to you, doesn't mean that it's not a big deal to the person who's venting about it. Right. So take into consideration of why it makes them feel that way. You know, what is it? And Tremaine's really good for it. It kind of is a hindrance for me. It kind of makes me mad at the same time, but it's also a blessing. He kind of could see both views. And at that point, I just want to listen to me, take my side, and be done with it. We can talk about it later, any, discussions we need to talk about and how to deal with it. But I have learned, being married for 7 years to this wonderful man,
there we go.
that you can be able to express your emotions without yelling, even though I just talk loud, but okay. Yelling. And again, for those guys who don't know about the overly sensitive, which I don't believe a person is overly sensitive. I just think, again, that person just takes it more seriously than others. I mean, the situation for me it really bothered me, and I'm very upset about it.
Tremaine's face.
Right. But so I say, listen to her, be coming to her with love, and try to see the situation. But also, as all the other ones were saying, all my other girls up here, don't be the only one yapping at the mouth. Try to listen to what their day was going like. And sometimes, and another thing, you guys always trying to do, like, figure out a solution. Sometimes I don't even want a solution. I just want you to listen. Mm-hmm. I don't need you to give me trying to fix everything. Just listen to me.
Well, I'm sorry, y'all. May I just want to say something really, really quickly. May I? Okay, so listen, ladies, when you come in the door, or just when your husband walk in the door, greet him. Because I'm going to tell you a secret, and the guys and the fellas, they're going to get upset with me, and I'm going to talk kind of quick because we got to get past this point. Listen, we would do whatever you guys ask us to do. You just have to know how to speak to us. You have to know that love language. Some men you can be straightforward with. Some men you have to be gentle with. But as soon as that man walked through that door, he's not really trying to hear a lot of stuff. He's trying to, he's just trying to relax a second. Let him get his shower. Let him unwind, just like you like to unwind. And then how was your day? Don't just come, yo, guess what happened today? What? I'm not trying to hurt. I just walked in the house. But you patient. I'm not trying to be patient right now, fam. I've been patient all day. I hope y'all feeling me on that, though. But this is serious. This is a serious thing. So if you want to respect your man when he comes through the door, give him a little, just 30 minutes, fam. 30?
Amen.
Praise God.
Amen.
I get you on that.
10.
I get you on that one. I'll just say like what I've told my dad before, and I say you give the world the best of you and we get the rest of you. So you still have to be careful. And I have said a few days, don't get twisted and don't do it again because I'm gonna be upset. But I honestly will say like that is true. And when we call like our significant other certain names or whatever and we label them a certain way, think before you speak and say, is this about to help the situation or is this about to fuel the argument even more? Because if you called me over a sensitive day, now I'm really about to say something else. So it's kind of like, it's really like now you're not hearing me. And like at the end of the day, it's like, did God wire me wrong? Now I'm starting to think, is it something wrong with me? Well, no, you just might be trying to hear me at this time. Maybe my delivery off, but at the end of the day, I'm not overly sensitive. To you, it might be out of proportion. To me, I'm really passionate about it. And I talk loud. Talk loud too.
Well, Pastor Kyrus, what's your take on it? What's something you would tell a young guy? Because you actually have a young guy. You got a son who's recently married. So what's some advice you would do to help them stay married?
Okay, stay married. I think y'all pretty much hit on everything. You know, because normally my thing is just leave. They don't like you. They don't want you to leave. No,
okay, no, we're not just leave. You can't. That's not real advice, y'all.
Don't leave, because if you walk out the door, that's fire coming right out of my mouth. Don't you walk away from when I'm talking to you. That'll make me even more mad.
I'm coming too.
Now I'm taking your keys. Now I'm not letting you sleep at night. Now I'm taking the blankets. I'm doing all of it.
No, but all jokes aside, I think that was very important what Pastor Kyrus just said. You know, and even though she said it in a jokingly manner, our relationship have got so much better as soon as we realized that we wasn't leaving each other. Because you come in with so much baggage, like say you just got out of a hurtful relationship and then you left, and then you got into another relationship and then he left. So subconsciously in your mind, you in a new relationship and you already prepared to leave at the first confrontation. So you once you married, you didn't make a promise to your significant other. You made a promise before God. So when you make a promise before God, you have to understand you can't play like that. So when my kids say, I swear to God, I let them know, boy, don't play with me. Because you don't play with that type of power. You feel me?
Well, that's true. That's true. That's a good point. And I think, but even, okay, so let's say Pastor Kyrus isn't really saying just leave if they don't like it. But what about like having the stick-to-itiveness? What would you actually what's some real advice you would give Pastor Kyrus?
Basically, I think they all answered it and said, gave pretty good information besides this person right here being overly sensitive. But I think they all gave good instructions and good information about how you should approach women when you come in the door and how we should approach them too. But the problem is it depends on if you go to work or if you've had the kids all day, you can't wait for some help to show up. You can't wait for them to get home so you can tell them what's going on so they can handle some things. So sometimes it's hard to always remember, okay, let me just let him rest when I haven't been resting. Because I'm like, shoot, I need to rest too. I'm tired too. I'm tired too.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yes.
But the thing is, you do have to learn that. And I'm not saying I did it all the time, because sometimes I do it, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, I know. Why it take you so long to get home? He be coming home by way of Richmond. I just got off at 5. Why it's 8 o'clock? So you might not get that break that y'all want him to get. But anyway, next.
Okay. Yes. Crystal said the stay-at-home person is working too. I do think it's still about consideration, though. At the end of the day, just considering that you're not the only one, and just thinking about how you'd want to be greeted. Let me greet you that way, and then maybe you'll catch on, because you do have to teach people how to treat you. And just. It's about a routine. And if you got, like Indy likes to always say, if you got, what is it, Indy, that you like to say about past behavior?
A repeat offender?
She's a repeat offender, so that makes a difference if you're a repeat offender about some things. It's Tremaine's
I'm supposed to believe you this time.
Okay, but what about, so then we're talking about, so that brings us to a good point. How is the man's typical desire to fix whatever seems is wrong an example of the blue thinking and how men think in, with blue hearing aids, or we'll see with blue sunglasses and hear blue hearing aids, versus the woman who may just actually want to vent, like they just want to talk? How, like, I know that a lot of guys, and we have the term, what is it, Mr. Fix It, okay? Or there's so many different things that we feel that men already feel like, okay, well, if the sink is backed up, I got to fix that. If the toilet does something, I got to fix that. They have a fix it mentality because why? They're the ones who are the providers, the ones who are handling certain things. And they're just built that way to really go in and handle the problem. But as women, sometimes we just want to vent. We're not looking for you to fix us. We're not looking for you to change the situation or whatever it is, because really you probably can. And even the advice you would give, we may or may not take it. But sometimes we just need that friend. So when it comes to don't fix me, just listen. Ladies, what is something that y'all have experienced in the whole fix it situation?
I'll hit on that one.
Please, Kelsey.
Okay, so this is something actually Aaron and I have had discussions about, and it's something that we definitely have different opinions on. And obviously because we've got pink sunglasses over here, blue sunglasses over there. All right. So so a lot of times I'll tell Aaron, I'm like, I just want to vent to you about something, and I don't need you to tell me what you think I should do. I don't want your advice. I already know what I should be doing. I know what the Bible says about it. I just want somebody to hear me out and somebody to be on my team and somebody to understand and have some empathy. You know what I mean? That's all I want from you. I don't need the advice part of it because I already know what I'm supposed to do. If I do need advice, I'll let you know, right? Okay. And so Aaron, on the other hand,
don't give her my side now. Hey,
Aaron, that's right, little bro. That's right.
Aaron, well, you told me what you think about it, so
right, Kelsey
thinks that he should be giving me advice anyways. I'll let you tell me what you think you should be doing. But I'm just saying, in those situations, all I want to do is vent. I want somebody to be on my team, somebody to just hear me and understand me. And that's really all I'm looking for, because I already know what I'm supposed to do 9 times out of 10. And if I don't, I will specifically ask you, what should I do? You know?
That's good. That's good because sometimes you do just want to talk. And then we have Terry Benjamin who says, well, yes, you are looking for a man to be Mr. Fix It. Let's keep it real. So are we, ladies, are we on here looking for a man to be Mr. Fix It when we're saying something, or do we want them to care? Pastor Kyrus, what's your take? Are we really looking for men, in your opinion, to be Mr. Fix It?
Oh, when I tell him, I want him to fix it. If I can fix it myself, then I don't tell him. So if I'm going to him with something, it's because I want him to do something about it. So normally if he doesn't hear about a situation, it's because it's something I can handle and I don't need him to do it. But once I've told him, I'm looking for him to fix it. I'm just not venting. I'm saying what's going to happen. Then what we're going to do? What's going on? So no, I want him to fix it.
Okay, Lulu, what do you think? Do we really want men to fix it?
Not for me, not all the time. No. Sometimes I'm just there to vent, and other times there is times I'm like, I want him to fix it, but I'm just like, not right now. I just want you to hear me out because I'm so angry. At the end of the day, when I'm angry about something or upset about something, my mind cannot even think about fixing anything. I'm just angry. I just want to get it off my chest. No, he's not my girlfriend, but I don't really talk to my girlfriends about everything because they're the ones that sit there and stab me in the back. And so I trust my husband. He's my first best friend. He's my counselor. He's everything. So he's gonna hear all of it. I'm all on him. So no, I don't have a girlfriend. No, he's not my girlfriend, but he's my best friend, and he's gonna listen to me and say I'm gonna say what I gotta say. And I tell him I learned how to say I don't want you to fix nothing. I don't want no advice. I just want you to hear me out. Just listen to me. I'm angry. And he's doing way better. I had just a situation the other day where I was really upset and I was crying. I was so mad. And he was good. He listened to me. And then he said what I should have did. And I was like, well, even when I was kind of calm, I was like, well, I don't know about all that. No. I didn't say that to him, but I took my little break, had my little time to myself, prayed about it to myself, and I was like, okay, God, he's right again. So I called him. I was like, I did what you told me to do.
And she did.
I did, and it was done.
It was very important too.
It was.
She's a firecracker, right? But this is my boo. So I be trying to let her know, sometimes you have to relax a little bit. It's not that serious. Everybody is not trying to attack you, but baby,
It
you
is
did
serious.
very well.
It's
Well,
really
okay, so we aren't wired like men, and men aren't wired like us. But there are some. We had a comment, and someone said, "So what if the man just wants to actually listen, and he doesn't want to fix it? Then that might, if you don't, for me
That's my
personally,
cousin that said that. What's up, Shayla?
right? So I'm just like, she's like, she said maybe if is it a woman or a man?
No, they both watch it. They newlyweds, matter of fact. But yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay,
it's a
Well,
man and woman.
congratulations on your newlyweds. But I'm just saying,
Congratulations, guys.
men, we aren't wired the same way. But what if a guy does just want to listen? Then that may not come off well because I'm like, you're not responding. Look, Deacon Burr, what do you have to say?
For us, it does not work because once she comes out and says what she's feeling and thinking, and I'm just sitting there, and so I say, and when I say that, and if I don't reply and come up with an answer, then it's a problem. They don't want you she don't want you just to listen and not come up with a solution.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that.
It's hard to listen, especially if you see them doing something wrong or going down a wrong path, and just watch them burn up. You know, I got to jump in and help or say something because, and a lot of times it's perceived wrong. They say, nope, I don't want to listen to what you say, and you say to yourself, they're going down the tube. They're going down the tube. You know, you can't do anything.
Exactly. So look, this is my thing. If y'all just want me to listen, right? This is exactly what I agree with what my dad was saying, because this is my teammate. So if I see my teammate and she doesn't, in the beginning, this is all I need. If you just want me to listen, this is all I need from you. I just want you to say, hey, I know that I should be thinking like this. I know what the Bible has said. I'm going to do that. What the Bible has said, I'm going to work on what the Bible has said. I'm going to work on forgiving this person that did me wrong, or I'm going to, pray about this for sure, and blah, blah, blah. But I just want you to listen. So start it out like that. That way I know that you are not going down a rabbit hole of negative thinking, stuff that might mess up our team, our whole team, take our ship in a different direction. For real, because I really need you to explain that to me first, because otherwise I'm looking at my teammate like, hold up, like, you about to turn our ship into a different direction, because this is not how we're supposed to be thinking in our household. This is not how we're supposed to be doing stuff in our household. And granted, I know that she's well able and capable, and she knows that I know that she's super, super smart, right? But
so until they pick back up, I know
time,
when my wife just want me to listen, because all she does is talk. You can't even get a word in. So when she's talking extremely fast, I know I'm gonna just sit back and listen. Hi guys.
Yeah, I think it's a
Wait a second. Aaron, what were you saying? Aaron, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What was your finishing part? Hold on.
Well, I was just saying, at the end of the day, it's like only thing is, I know I saw Rondell had a comment. He was like, but if I'm listening to you and I hear that you're wrong, I'm gonna be looking at you like, should I just let her keep going down this negative rabbit hole or not? You know what I mean? And should I trust and believe that her mindset's going to change or whatever? So all I'm saying is, if y'all just want me to listen, start it out with, I know what I should be doing. I know what the word of God tells me. I am going to be on the right path, Aaron, because otherwise I'm thinking about my teammate. And I mean, how many times do we hear, somebody's random, unfortunately, people's spouses kill themselves all the time, or they do some crazy stuff happens and they're like, wow, I never saw that coming. Maybe because they didn't speak up and say, hey, watch how you're thinking here, because the Bible tells us that it tells us that we got to continually renew our mind by the word of God. So like, I'm doing my part as a partner and being like, hey, look, remember, don't get caught up in the moment, because, we're not wrestling against flesh and blood here. So don't forget that, in the midst of your anger, it's okay to be angry, but don't forget that we're not wrestling against flesh and blood. Don't forget that these things are, God is working all things out for your good, because it's so easy for all of us to get stuck down into a negative thinking rabbit hole. And I know Kelsey's smart enough to get herself out of there, and she, but it's not that I'm thinking that she's not smart enough, but it's just like, I've been in the heat of the moment and done crazy stuff too. We've all been in the heat of the moment and done some stuff that's like, dang, I wish I hadn't done that, out of the heat of the moment. So as a teammate, I'm like, hey, I got to remind my teammate.
Well,
Well,
I'll
B.
say,
Lou, what do you? Oh, go ahead, Indy and B. Lou. Sorry.
I'll say, I preface my conversation with, listen to this. I think that's pretty clear. I'm like, look, I need you to have discernment that I need you to listen to this. Now, I hear you, Aaron, but I mean, this is where we're different. Is that I don't need to preface my. I don't need to preference my like conversation with B. Lou like he's my priest real quick for that moment. Like I just want to be carnal for 1 second, and if I keep harping on it, then okay. And I see these people up here like they're not your girlfriend and stuff, but you kind of are. If you're my support system and stuff, girlfriend is the word that the type of worldly word we use. And I've actually said that to him to let him get an understanding. I'm like, you gotta be my girlfriend right now, as in like I know you're not a girl and all that kind of stuff. But when I say, dang, let me tell you this, what happened today, blah, 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 then you know to listen. But if I keep going on and you see that it's in like I have turmoil about it, the first time, don't give me no advice. I just want you to listen. But if I'm constantly rehearsing something over and over, then you see that it's eating away with me. Then you can add your 2 cents. Because sometimes I'm happy with 98. And that's that. Just be here with me real quick. Say your little piece too. If I'm going in about something, don't go in too much with me because then
What's
I really
up, Eric? What up, y'all?
know what I'm saying? So that's all. I just think that you have to preface it with, I just want you to listen, and I'm just trying to be me real quick because in the world I have to be sometimes you have to be a little more proper and all that kind of stuff. But when I get home, I want to let my hair down and call you or something and say, look, this is what happened. They just get on my nerves so bad. God, dog. I know, and you, because in my life, you see me on a daily, spending time with the Lord, praying together, hearing me ask the Lord for my to forgive my sins and all that kind of cleansing or whatever I do. You see me living that life, so I don't really feel like I got to preface it. Look, I know I'm supposed to forgive them, blah blah blah. Because half the time in my argument, I'll say, I know the Lord don't want me to feel like this, but I do right now, and He can really understand my disappointment and my anger. God can handle it, and that's that. So that's just
but okay. So to Aaron's point, he's saying, don't come home and let me think it's something that's about to ruin what we're trying to build or go the opposite way. So just let me know, hey, preference the conversation with, all right, look, I'm trying my I already know we can handle this. It's something we can talk about. But let me just tell you the situation first, and then we can come up with a solution. Or I already know what I need to do, but then let me come up with a solution. And Indy's saying, if you know me, like Crystal said, you have to know your spouse. If you know me, you know that I already know those other steps and those other precautions and measures to take. And I'm not about to jump off the cliff, but I just need to tell you what's going on. Because even though men aren't our girlfriends, you still, like Crystal said, you have to know your spouse. They're not your girlfriend. They're not your significant other. But sometimes we do just need to vent, because I know you care about me. So in knowing that you care about me, you're going to care about what I care about. And that's really how it comes off sometimes,
And for some of those ones that don't have that biblical background, because we know that everybody's not quite, we want everyone to obviously be saved. But like for me, before I was even saved, before I could even think rational, like I don't have that rational. I'd be like, oh, well, listen, I'm just upset. So just listen. No, I'm coming home. I'm letting it out. And then I literally later on, I'll be like, babe, I just was really mad. And he'll ask me like, and we'll talk about it. But I don't know about all that. I couldn't do that as now I can, because I'm more mature. But back then there was no doing, listen to me. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm just mad. No, because for that, then I'm good. I'm just trying to let you know, like Indy said, I'm letting my hair down. I'm throwing my sneakers on. I got the Vaseline ready to go, and I'm fighting the air. I need a punching bag or something. Give me something, because I'm mad.
Okay, so we have a question. We got a question. Gio says, what if they listen but are afraid to react when it's a family member conflict and they see it, but they keep quiet? So so for the married couples, how do y'all handle each other's family? Or when you come home and you're upset about something that happened in your family, how do y'all really respect your spouse to respond or to act? Because like I could say something about my sister, but you better not say nothing about my sister. So how do y'all really respect your spouse to react or to handle certain situations when it does come to family? That's a great question, because you might want to listen in ear, then you might want help, but you have to be still respectful in your help. So how do y'all handle that? Aaron and Kelsey, what's one way, and then B-Lou and Indy, Tremaine and Lulu, and then Pastor Kyrus. Y'all next.
I think when it comes to like a family situation, I mean, you got to think these people were in a family having confrontations before you came along. So they probably know how to handle their own things. I would say as a spouse, if they're like in a confrontation or argument with someone else in their family, definitely don't try to jump in. I mean, unless they're like physically fighting, then maybe do something. But if they're just having like an argument, maybe just let them figure it out. And definitely don't try and like, if it's a true argument, if you're just joking around, that's one thing. But if it's like a real argument, don't jump in and try to take sides or anything like that in front of people. You definitely don't. If you need to say something to them, like, hey, I think you handled this with your family incorrectly or whatever, say it behind closed doors, but definitely don't say it in front of the family or anything like that.
I be pulling Kelsey into arguments. I be like, Kelsey, did you see what Aaron did? I be asking Kelsey's opinion. I'm like, Kelsey, right, Kelsey? Like, right, Kelsey? And Kelsey's like, I'm not in it. I don't even know. I'm just minding my own business. But that's even ground. B-Lou and Indy, how do y'all handle it?
You can go.
I think it depends on the situation. So I definitely need to know my place as her future husband, and like, because we're not married yet, but it'll be soon. But like, say for example, if Indy's, having a disagreement with Bree, I can't just jump in and be like, Bree, shut up, or Bree, you're wrong. That's their discussion. I can't be doing all that. If I feel like she's really being disrespected in a crazy way, I feel like it'd be really hard not to say something. But I think it really just depends on the situation. And I can never be disrespectful if I ever did speak up.
Right,
I think B-Lou's done a good job of that, because me and Indy have been in arguments in front of B-Lou, and B-Lou just goes upstairs, or he'll be like, all right, well, Bree, do you want to play cards? Or like he does a really good job of trying to diffuse the situation and doesn't ever take like a side or get involved. So I commend you, because you've been around for some arguments, B-Lou.
Sure.
Aaron, hold on, Indy, before you, Indy, you go, and then Aaron, I want to hear your take, because I didn't hear what you said.
Me, I guess, like, if his family was getting in an argument and stuff like that, I'm real protective already, and I don't really like people getting ganged up on or something like that, so I'm always side-eyeing situations. But I do know that it's not my place to say anything, but don't come home acting like no punk. Don't act like something towards me, you won't act towards them. It goes back to that. So, because if it happened a month ago and you try to pipe up to me a month later, I still remember what I saw. And so, it's like, but honestly, I think everybody needs to stay in their lane, and that's what me, Bree, and Aaron, we have an agreement that all spouses are out when it's family matters. It does not matter. It's just the siblings and everything like that. On certain things, like the spouse's opinion don't matter. They don't have a place. And I tell B-Lou that, I'm like, hey, you're still not, even when we get married, you're not blood. You weren't birthed from my mother. So when we have certain situations, and I've seen in my lifetime how family members have grown apart because the spouses have gotten into family matters, where I think I've like shown him or brought it up to him multiple times, like, hey, this is not your place. You all are always gonna stay out of this, because it's between, I call us the triangle. I'm like, it's a triangle, not a square now. Okay. So it's just between us right there. So I think to keep, because me and Bree or something, we'll get over it, but you don't want to be like in the midst of it, and you're not blood and you're not really family, even though you got married into it. We can all look at you sideways, but we all made up, So I'm just saying, right, the safest place is to stay out of it so that everybody else can handle their business. And of course, you don't want anything to get out of control or whatever. But I mean, if y'all started fighting, I'm like, dang, this is what y'all do? I don't know. But, it depends on who's winning. No, I was kidding. No, I was kidding. But I just say all spouses stay out of it. Even on my end, I would stay out of his relationship, his family stuff, just to keep the peace, because I don't want to add anything. And then everybody's looking at you and be like, you don't even know. You weren't there when I was 5. Right. Stuff like that.
That's true. Aaron, what are your thoughts? Sorry, I didn't get to hear your side.
I mean, honestly, I think those were all great responses. I think one of the most valuable one, everybody was valuable. I really did like how Brian said, if I do say something, I got to be respectful. But I'm with Indy and everybody else that said this too. Is that there's just times and places where it's just not your place to say anything. You can come home and talk about it, But other than that, you know, and you can probably coach your spouse or your significant other in some ways, but I also would coach them in peacemaking. I would not coach them to be divisive against their own family members, because I think at the end of the day, we all want our families to be together, and that's probably a source of the arguments and the angers, because the enemy is coming in trying to separate your family. But at the end of the day, like I said, I would just coach them in peacemaking to the best of my ability and stay out of it for the most part when I'm in person. And you know, and if I ever decided to say something for some reason that it felt right and I was listening to the Lord and he told me to say something, I don't really know, but because it'd be rare, you know, then that's when, you know, you say something respectfully, and I don't really know, but that's a rare time where you should ever say something.
Right.
I think you should just keep quiet and then roll on, you know.
Right. Somebody say something to me and I'm like, look.
Lulu and Jermaine, how do y'all handle it?
Keep the peace.
Aaron, what I would just do, I would just try to, you know, break the ice and just fart.
No, that's not no, be Lou. No, sir.
I knew you weren't there.
That would make everybody laugh.
You'd be like, all right, get out of here.
No, we're not doing that. Lulu and Jermaine, how are y'all handling it outside of gas?
Oh my God.
How are you two doing it?
I'm a thinker, and in the beginning, what I would do is do a preventative, like I would try to prevent it. So I think for the youngins and everybody, first of all, Gio, that was a great question to be 17. Goodness gracious, I got my thinking cap on. But I would try these steps right here. Never tell your family what you and your household going through. Whatever problems y'all going through, keep it inside. Don't even tell your friends or your siblings, because I'm gonna tell you something. People hold on. I know I ain't like that girl anyway. You know what I'm saying? So then, you know, so when it's arguments inside, let's try to prevent them from spreading. And a lot of times the families involved, man, it's because you done said something about your spouse, and then when you get to arguing, they feel comfortable enough to say something in the argument.
That's so true.
How you gonna tell me that I can't talk to her? But you was telling me that she was doing this. You won't say that when she was coming in at 2:00 in the morning, out drinking with her homegirls. You see what I'm saying? You gotta not her. I'm just saying in general. But you know, you gotta try to prevent these arguments. So, like I like to do, I like to sit in the cut, and when I feel like something's wrong, I try to diffuse it before it even go off. And then you always gotta remember something, man. Family. Once you married, man, you're married into the family.
Yep.
And that's very important. Okay. You're not my stepson. You my son.
Amen.
You know, you're not my stepdaughter, you my daughter. You're not my brother-in-law, you my brother. So that means you represent me when you step out there, as well as you represent my sister. I represent you as well. So I got your back, you have my back. We gotta move. I know y'all a triangle, but we gotta move like an octagon right now. You know what I'm saying? We have to move. And you got to understand that an octagon is the shape of a stop sign. So we got to stop the pettiness. You see what I'm saying? So that's just how I look at it. I'm just different. And I be telling people, like, hot sauce, if she got problems with my family members, and I let her vent, because I don't care, because I don't even take it personal. It's not that I don't care how she's feeling, but I'm not going to give it that much energy to make me upset. Because I'm going to get upset on how she feels. That's not my problem. Right. She can feel how she want to feel. I'm going to say, oh, babe, I'm sorry you feel like that. But, you know, can you just kind of sit on it and not say anything? That's a favor to me. And then she would say, I don't know about all that, and then storm off. But then in the morning, she'll nudge me and she'd be like, yo, you're right, babe. I got your back. And then I may feel a certain kind of way, and she might say, hey, babe, can you do me that favor? What? Can you sit on it? Yo, babe, I won't say nothing anyway. I'm just talking to you, boo.
Lulu, what's your take on it?
I have to be honest. Like, honestly, that was not my take on it when I first met Jermaine. Like, me, so I guess when I first got married, I took it as, that's my husband. You ain't got no business saying nothing to him, and that's it. And I feel as at one point I did feel like he should have took up for me. But I did see how he handled a situation where me and my sister was having a disagreement, and he sat us both down like he was our daddy. Okay.
I'm King Daddy.
Okay, King Daddy. Sat us both down and really had us conversate and work it out. And to be honest, it really did work. And we are now tighter than we were before because, you know, because of him sitting down and stopping it like an octagon and all that stuff that he's talking about. So he does do that. And I'm going to say I did learn that from Jermaine because I was one, I'll be ready to fight for Jermaine. I don't care who it is.
All
your
the
mama,
time.
your daddy, your sister, your granddad, your bald-headed I don't care. I'm ready to do it. I'm all about it. But because he taught me different, I'm different. Okay.
I just want to say one more thing.
I'm different.
I just want to say one more thing really quickly. What do people get of fighting a loved one? You know, families is broken behind stuff like that. You know, you can call somebody a wrong name and they will resent you for the rest of your life. And then you can put hands on somebody. Now we got cases. Goodness gracious, I don't want another case. I don't want to buy another lawyer. I don't want to do anything. Yo, I just want peace. Boom. If you don't like her, hey, look, I love you, baby. You don't have to even talk to her. I'm not even going to bring you around her.
Nah,
you feel me?
He's right, though.
But I want you to be around my family. I love to see all my family together getting along. And believe me, my family is not like me. You feel me? They firecrackers too. You see what I'm saying? But I'm the punching bag, and I can take it because I'm the man.
But I like that. That's good.
I don't agree with that anymore. I do think you should just kind of like talk about it when you go home and be like, babe, you know, why you let that person talk that way? Or why didn't you say something? Or why you ain't speak up? And then he'll let me know. And the thing is, when we do that, I'll be like, oh, okay.
But you do that all the time. Oh, I didn't look at it like that. Wow.
I just said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pastor Kyrus and Deacon Bird. We have a can you guys answer? And then we have a question that I want to answer from Sam.
Go ahead, answer. Do Sam's.
Sam said, "What if your spouse or significant other is talking about their family and you give them an opinion, but then they are angry because you chimed in on the problem? The Smiths are good on this, but just curious about others." So y'all answer that question, please.
Well, I guess if you open it up, like Tremaine said, and you invite them into the family discussion, and then you come up with an answer or your opinion, I can't get mad at you because I let you in on it. You know, with me, I felt once we got married, her family is my family. It's like brothers and sisters. You know, she see, you know, a little different than I see it. I mean, her mom and brothers, if they know, if they need something, it's like mom for real, brothers for real. You know, it's just that way. But when you start letting people in that don't have your best interests at heart, it can cause some division.
Okay,
Right.
Pastor Kyrus, that's good, Deacon Bird. Pastor Kyrus, what's your
I don't
thought?
agree with that. I agree with these little triangle people. And I feel like whatever, you know, you keep it in the family. And if I want to vent to him or see what he thinks I should do about a certain situation, I think that's fine. But I think family ought to stay out of family business. You know, don't get into that family business. Stay out of it. You know, because what's going to happen is me and my family, we're going to be okay later on, or maybe not for a little while. But if, you know, we still together. But the thing is this, but once he gets into it, it just takes it a whole different route that I ain't even wanted to go to. I know how to manipulate my own family. But then when you come in and you do what you do, then that just takes it somewhere else. And I got to figure that out. I got to get that solution. So everybody stay in your place. That's how I feel.
Oh, well, but you know, and I think, Janelle, what was your experience with when you were married? Because I know that you and your ex-husband, y'all actually were childhood friends. So how did that go? Because if you've known someone that long, it's hard not to be involved in their family and different things because you knew them growing up. So what was your take and how did you kind of get in it, get out of it, or?
Yeah, it was very, very difficult because you're right. I'd been knowing them for so long and spent the night at their house and, you know, played with the sister and everything. So it was really difficult. But how I stayed out of it is because, like Pastor Kyrus, my mother feels the same way. And my mother would tell me, I mean, I really don't even have a lot to say about this to expound on because my mother would say, Pookie, stay out of it. It's not your place. And as difficult as it was, I had to do it. And honestly, it was because as a grown woman, it was because my mother told me to stay out of it. And I did. And I did not even have pillow talk about it. You know what I mean? To even bring it up, like after the fact, okay, look, what happened yesterday or last night, and when so-and-so said, I said nothing, period. And neither did he. Neither did he. And I'm just like,
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, like I just, now had my mama not taught me that, I would have been like, oh, you just gonna sit here and let.
That's good.
Yeah, because my mother always taught me, and I'll just say this. My mother always taught me what happens in our house stays in our house.
That's okay.
And I carried that with me, and I'll just give you a little quick thing, funny thing. When Jelena, I picked her up from school one day. She was in kindergarten, and she said, "Mommy, my friend and her parents are divorcing." Now this is kindergarten. And my friend's mom threw all of the daddy's clothes outside. And I said, how do you know about this? Like, she told you that? And she was like, yeah. And I said, well, let me tell you something. And I actually pulled the car over, because before I'm like looking in my rearview mirror with her telling me this story. I pulled the car over and I turned around and I said, Jelena, number one lesson, what happens in our home stays in our home.
Oh, yes.
You don't tell anyone, best friend, little friend, anything that happens in our home. Because I could not believe this. My daughter's in kindergarten and she's telling me about the fight that her friend's parents had and throwing clothes outside. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, I sound like my mom, saying what goes on in this house stays in this house. So I did not experience that, Bree, just from learned behavior, just never got in the middle of it.
Well, but I think that's good. And I think not knowing your place as in you better stay here, or you better do this, or, mind your business, but just making sure it doesn't cause extra conflict. It doesn't cause unforgiveness, like Indy and my mom said too. And I guess I would stay with this too, because I'm a girl. So I know how girls can hold on to something different than a guy can. Guys will be like, oh, that's your sister, you squashed it. Okay. But then I'm thinking, if in the argument, did they say something about me? And now how am I involved? And now I got to get in it. And it just comes because you want to get married and thinking that everybody loves you. Everybody has the best for you and wants the best for you. So when you start getting into stuff, they be like, oh, I've been waiting to get on you too. So now it's open season because you didn't open your mouth, so it makes so long term, it does push it out and makes it, makes it a tough situation. But while I have the guys on here, I have a question that I want to ask. It's a little off topic, and I need straight answers from the men, okay? And then I want straight answers from the women, and I want straight answers, and I don't want no line up here, Deacon Byrne and Tremaine, okay? You and Aaron, I feel like I'm in good standing with y'all for y'all to tell the truth about something. But the older two, I don't know right now because they slick. So, okay, so this is the question I need to know. Why do men, or you could go for women, but right now we're just going for men. Why do men string people along? String women along. What is it that your friends, what is that whole stringing a girl along thing, and y'all have no intentions of being with them, marrying them, staying, dating? What is that about?
DB, you want to take this first?
I'll go with it first. Because I'm going to tell you what happens. The truth of the matter is, when I was out there in the world running around, it's not that you always string them along. It's sometimes they would cling to your character, and they felt they were in a different position than they actually were. So I was not stringing them along. I was always straightforward, saying, this is not going but so far. But women gotta have a chance. Women, they want to change a man and make him the way, they're not listening to what you're saying. They have their own agenda. So you're trying to be straight and truthful, but they're trying to tell you what they want. So I'm saying, okay, this is going nowhere fast in my mind, but in their mind, I'm gonna make you my husband. I'm gonna make you my so-and-so. So, you're not always stringing them along. Because I never strung someone along. Because I was always concerned about their feelings. But I've been telling the truth, and they had their own agenda. Probably the same thing happened to Tremaine.
Crystal said a man or a woman can't do any more than what we allow. And I agree with that unless they promised that they plan to do something else. Because then if you're dating someone and they have no intentions of keeping their word or keeping their promise, then that's something that you didn't really foresee in y'all's conversation when the promises or the dedication was said to have been made. So that's all I'm saying. So Tremaine, what is it about guys? What's that whole thing when guys string women along and with no intentions of really marrying them or whatever the case could be?
I mean, I only mess with real guys, like real G's, and they want to tell you straight up, hey, look, this is just this, and I'm not looking for nothing other than just dating and hanging out. But okay. ladies, let's be real. Nobody want to be stringed along like a violin. Okay, you're not just gonna be sitting around. You know the signs, right? You know the signs when it's all love. You talking on the phone like, yo, what's up, bro? How you doing? And then next time you talk to them, it's like, yo, I gotta go. I'm gonna hit you back. Like you can't just be just green to the fact that, oh, he act different. You just kind of fill them out, and then also, which is very important, if you want a man, find a man, don't find a boy. See, I don't mess with boys.
That's a nugget. Write that down.
I can't really talk about what boys do. I only can talk about what men do. Because a man gonna, like, I see my wife, when I see her, I'm like, yo, you mine. She was like, whatever. I ain't gonna say what she said, but she like, whatever, brother. I don't want you. You think you gonna buy me? I'm like, nah, boy, I ain't gonna buy you. You ain't never met nobody like me. So next thing I know, she was like, Then once I disappeared, like Wesley Snipes and Disappear acts, my boo came back. You know what I'm saying? So a man is going to go after his queen. And then as a queen, you got to go after your king. You don't want to be going after little Hector at the Exxon, drinking a 40, chilling, driving his mama car, or somebody hollering at you with some pink hubcaps, or somebody hollering at you with Hello Kitty hanging in the thing. You know they driving their girl car. What's going on? And then you gotta understand the signs. My man don't even have a job. How you talking to me all day, every day? Where you work at? Come on, this is the difference for boys and men. And that's all I want to say. You gotta learn the difference between boys and men, and don't be blaming men for what boys do. Because you asking me a boy question, and I'm a man.
Okay, well, all right. B. Lou, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. So I have a couple different theories, but I was younger. I'm still young, but I would say when I was, trying to figure out what I want, I had to date a few different girls or talk to a few different girls, hang out with them, figure out what my actual interest was in a woman. And then, sometimes it takes a while to get to know that girl, and it might seem like you're stringing her along, but once I first met Indy, though, I was like, this is not a girl. I got to decide right now if I'm going to, like...
That's hard, dude. That's what's up.
Like, right when I met her, I was like, all your dirt, you got to leave right now, because she wasn't one that I was just going to hang out with. Like, she didn't even have to tell me that. I just felt that about her. Like, I just knew she was a serious girl. I was like, there's no more doing drugs. There's no more none of that. I'm done. Like, I cannot, I had to get right before God even blessed me with her anyway. But, so I would say... that's my theory on that. But then also there's some men out there that just want to keep their old ways and, be trifling, right? So some guys just want to live two different lives, and it might seem like they're stringing them along, but they're not being the man that she needs to be, or she needs him to be. So that's my
But I want to piggyback off of that, B, because I can see both sides. I don't really think that men out there being trifling. We got to understand that we're flesh, right? And nobody's perfect but God. And I done made plenty of mistakes. And my wife forgave me for the mistakes that I had, because temptation is out there. It's always out there. I can't go nowhere without somebody knowing who I am. And it kind of be messed up. And I be telling Boo, I be like, well, I just want to sit in the house with you. I don't want to go to the store. And she be looking. And sometimes you don't even recognize. Let me give you an example real quickly. And it's foul because sometimes I just do foul things, but I'm honest, and my wife will stand beside me. So we sitting in the car and we talking, and this girl walked past, right, and she jiggling, right. I mean, and I don't even know that I'm doing it, right, and I'm like. And then I'm going this way, and I meet her right here. She said, "You want to go for a walk with her?" I followed the girl all the way in the store. And when I look right here, my wife was right there. I'm like, "Oh my God, babe, I apologize because at this moment I forgot what I had, and she forgave me for it." You see what I'm saying? So I'm not trifling because I had a weak moment, and the other men, they're not trifling because they had a weak moment either. You got to understand, when you married, man, you want to go through trials and tribulations. You understand what I'm saying? You just can't throw it away. And I just appreciate this woman right here for going through all my trials. And believe me, I had all kind of trials, court trials, tribulation trials. You don't even want to know about my trial, 30-day trial, everything. Don't even get me started. But that's the difference between boys and men. I just want to just say that, you know.
What I mean by trifling, there's some men out there that just want a woman to take care of them, and then they'll be out like maybe getting drunk all night, you know, hanging out with other girls. You know, I think maybe that's what I call as like stringing them along, is that you're not ready to actually be the man that they personally need. You know, so because every woman needs that specific man to take care of them, and I need her to take care of me when I need her, and you know, every day I need her, you know, a different way. You know, I need to be loved a certain way, and she needs to be loved a certain way. But I think that there's some men out there that just don't know how to become that man for her, or they're not ready to become that man for her. And I just knew right when I met her, I was like, I gotta be the best Brian every day, you know, here forward. And I had some stumbling blocks along the way, and you know, but I never did anything to completely make her run away.
We had a Marguerite. She said, men and women are always saying the flesh, when in reality they can say no. A weak moment or none, you can say no. Okay, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. But the truth is, we do have to subdue our flesh, and so you do grow and you learn and you take hold of it. And then once you get to know God, it really does change a lot of different things. And so with that question, it was a question from the audience. Sometimes we're dating people that we're not equally yoked with either. So this is a boy question, or a question that you would ask a boy, or a boy would only understand it, but so would an unsaved man, or someone who doesn't really know the Lord, or hasn't really had a good male role model, because some of that stems from childhood, and it's not just, oh, well, she's fine and she walked by. Some of that stuff, they didn't have good men around them. They didn't have a father figure, or they have different mommy and daddy issues that need to be dealt with. And I was speaking to one of my friends last night, and we were just talking about why men will cheat on a good woman. And they were like, it has nothing to do with the woman. That's something that the man really needs to, needs to get the Holy Spirit. We're talking about a good woman, not one that's like, okay, or has done her dirt, but like a good one who's really for you, got your back, been there, and it could be some trauma and different things that are unresolved in him, and it manifests in that way, so it goes both ways, but it is still about making sure that you're equally yoked and being with someone who does know the Lord, so God can hold them accountable, and you don't have to constantly be on their back 24/7. Like, who you looking at, who you talking to? I don't have time for that. So if I got to do that, I can't be with you. Aaron, what's your take? Why do you think guys string women along, or maybe false hopes, false promises, whatever the case could be?
I think that's a loaded question, and it is because there's so many reasons. First and foremost, the first thing that comes to my head is selfishness. A lot of us want our cake and we want to eat it too, right? I mean, you bake the way. That's a stupid saying, because if you bake the cake, you want to eat it. But anyways, but we know, y'all know what I mean when I say that. You want to eat it too, or whatever, right? And so I feel like a lot of it boils down to being selfish. But then if you want to go deeper, then it goes down to our culture, the way that men in culture are looked at. You're being the man if you're getting a lot of women. You are the man if you do that, and guys say, oh, you got to go, and people are like, oh, you need to go and sow those wild oats or whatever. you know, or the TV stuff that we watch on TV, partying and trying to holler at girls and all this stuff or whatever, it all influences that aspect of things. And on the other side too, I will say that if you're a woman and this is happening to you, part of the reason, this is not to be harsh, just hear me out though, but part of the reason is because you are letting that person do that to you. You know, let them realize what they had once it's gone. You need to leave. You know what I mean? In some aspects, it's just like, I gotta go because that person, I don't know, because the reasons are so deep that you can't necessarily pin that down. If you are that woman in that relationship, then, and if, yeah, I mean, if you're married, it's a different story, right? There's a lot of things you can do. You can pray, you can start going to church, praying that the Lord just reveals himself to your husband, or, you know, or whatever it is. I'm not saying that, you know, but even the Bible says if this guy's out here cheating on you or whatever, that's grounds for divorce, because that stuff really, really hurts, and God knows that it hurts, you know. But at the end of the day, if you are that woman that's in just a regular relationship, you can actually leave, and the fact that you're not leaving is allowing him to do it more. But you're not realizing your own value, but you're also not realizing that, hey, there is more fish in the sea. You know, I'm not one to believe. I believe. I believe that there is. I believe that for some people there are a specific person, right? But that's just some people. And if that specific person goes and marries another person, even if it was a specific person for you, God can find you another person that he will work it all out for your good. Just in that same sense, he is the master weaver, right? He can weave it all together. So, but it's just you're afraid to leave. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the reasons too, is like, hey, he doesn't realize what he has because you're still there. And but like I said, for the men, I just think it's selfishness. I think it's a whole bunch of our culture. It's a whole bunch of just not knowing who God is, not knowing the fact that when you are out here sleeping around or whatever it is that you're doing, you're actually attacking your own marriage in the future. You're just bringing pains and hurts to your future marriage. It's a whole bunch of stuff that's why I say it's a loaded question. But like I said, if you're in that relationship, I know it's hard to leave, but hey, sometimes you just got to walk out the door and be like, I got to go. You're stringing me along. I realize that you're stringing me along, and I believe that God can work it out for my good and find me somebody.
Right. That's good, Aaron. Good job, y'all. Good job, men. Deacon Burns, Tremaine, B. Lou, y'all really showed up for me on that question. I appreciate that. But I have another question for the guys. Ladies, we're going to answer our question second. We've got another question for the guys. And Shanard said he's just asking for a friend. But he said, is it wrong for a man to believe that he should have certain things in place first before marriage? Example, a career, car, other things. So is it wrong for a guy to wait to propose or wait to get married because they want to have certain things in order? Deacon Byrne, you take that question first.
Well, as a man, not to belittle anyone, but you always want to have your own to be able to have something to offer to that person. Okay. Because a woman normally feels that when you're in a sexual relationship, that they have other things to offer. But once you go past the point and start getting intimate, then you're really changing your relationship there. So at that point, you're kind of in there, but you need to make sure you're right before you get to that point. Right. Because you know what you're looking for ultimately, but you need to have yourself as a good prize for her also. You know what I mean? You just want to take advantage of someone you know you're not ready. Not saying you know your heart, not saying you're going to get ready, but you need to go ahead and make the moves to show her that you're really for her and you're going to be ready.
Okay, that's good. Tremaine, what's your thoughts? Is it wrong for a guy to want to wait to kind of have all his ducks in a row before he proposes or gets engaged?
I really feel like it just depends on the guy. You know, personally, I want my wife to be in the mud with me. That way I already know it's not a money thing. It's not like I want you to be down and let's go up together. And to be honest with you, that's one of our deepest conversations that we had. And the best conversations that we had was in the pain of our relationship, the worst of our relationship. They say the best times is the worst of times. And it's like, we had that conversation. She was like, babe, there's no amount of money in this world. I just want you to be home with me and be safe. We can live in a cardboard box together. And let's do it together. I was like, dang. And no woman ever told me that before. Because
That's
I'm,
good.
you know, and so if you feel like you want to have your career and you want to have your life in order before you marry a woman, but then don't have to, because what if it take you 10 years to have your career? You got people in school for 10 years. So you telling me that for 10 years, I mean, let me calm down. I'm not going to say that because it's wrong. But I mean, I just don't like for 10 whole years, you were just having a relationship and you celibate for 10 years, or you whatever you got going on, you're not just gonna, you know, the woman is gonna be with you for 10 years. She's gonna want something in return. She gonna want a commitment. You know, you can't that's stringing somebody along. And if you say, look, I'm about to join the military, or I'm about to get this job, give me a year and I'll be there for you like that. But I want to have goals, talk to her. But if it's short-term goals, I can understand. Long-term goals,
That's good.
kind of up in the air.
Okay, that's good. B. Lou. Okay, I just want y'all to know before my brother B. Lou gets on here that Indy, show him your ring. Where's your ring, Indy? Paid off, don't owe nobody nothing. Okay, so I just want to say, okay, got down on one knee with no bills attached. So, but and for me, let me just before he talks, for me, understanding, and I listened to Miles Monroe on this. Guys have a thing where they do have certain things they want accomplished before they bring somebody else along, because being a provider, it makes it easy to provide when you're not always scrambling. So I see that part. But then on Tremaine's side, I also agree, because if they're long-term goals, we can build together and you can trust me in that. And, you know, and in our relationship, you got to see that you can be in the trenches with people and we can grow together. And I'd rather grow with you than come into something and you have it all figured out all the time, and then it's mine and that's or that, you know, this is yours or whatever. So sometimes you like watching my parents, they might not have the talk that Tremaine and Lulu had, but they kind of grew up really together because they got married so young. So they didn't have to say, I'm gonna be with you in the trenches. They just were already there, you know, because they got married so young and she wasn't gonna wait, he wasn't gonna wait, so much so they got married twice. But either way, you know, like they got married twice because they didn't tell people they were married when they went to the Just of the Peace. And then they had a real wedding, but nobody knew at the real wedding they were already married. But that's for another story. Anyway, go ahead. Don't bang your head down. But I see both sides, because I'm not gonna wait long term for you to go ahead and construct this whole building. But you know, I've been here with you through the blueprint of the building. When you were hiring the architects, I don't want to have to wait for you to buy the bricks. Like that could take too long. It's true. I mean, so I get it. Okay. B. Lou, you know, back to me. I was bragging on you, B. Lou, but now you can answer. Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it, Bree. So definitely, I'm with Tremaine when it comes to I want to build a life with Indy, and it's more like I didn't want to wait. You know, like I was so stuck on like I need money to get the ring. That was my only thing stopping me from wanting to ask Indy, because I knew. I mean, I saved up for a few years. You know, life happens. You know, like you have car problems. You're trying to. For me, trying to increase my clientele so I can make more money and we grow our business. We're both trainers. So, you know, we were building our life together, and she knew for many years that I wanted to, you know, marry her and everything like that. So I just, even though I put on a car payment and all that kind of stuff, got a new apartment, I still did what I could to put the money aside to get her ring. And, you know, now, you know, yeah, I don't have a house that I would love to bring her into yet, but you know, I got a great apartment, and when it comes time for us to get married, we're gonna have a place together. Maybe it'll be something even nicer than this. That's, you know, that's what we're believing for. But I don't think there's gonna, if you keep waiting for the perfect scenario, it's only gonna delay what God has for you. You know, because when we get married, things could just pop off like that. Because now we did make a covenant right in front of God. You know, a promise that we're gonna be together forever. So, and until then, you know, I think we're just delaying blessings if I don't marry her.
Yeah, and I think also you have to be on the same page as one another too. Like, I was very vocal about waiting, and that's odd for some people or whatever. But I was very vocal about, look, I understand we're in love, but love don't feed me. So, but I was on the opposite end of the spectrum of other people, because I saw my parents financially. They struggled and everything like that. But we had an agreement that it won't take longer. We were actually growing a business. Now,
right.
can say what they want about entrepreneurs, and other people might have more money than entrepreneurs, but we're working for ourselves. You might be working for someone else's dream. You know, when you're working in a person's office, you're working to help fund that person's dream. We're building our own dream, so it's really situational. And I think you give somebody a heads up on what you're willing to wait for and all that kind of stuff. But if you're saying you want to establish this, have certain cars, have a certain life, want to live here and there, it just sounds to me that you don't really see a life with me, because you would want to bring me along and say, hey, I know that once I get all this success, once I get that new car, once I get that new place, it's not going to be nothing but emptiness without you.
I would say if you know that's the woman that you want to be with the rest of your life, like all the cars and the houses and all that vacations, all the other stuff that you are going to want to do, that's all going to come. Just lock her down so nobody else takes her. Once you get that car or that beautiful home, I'm gonna be like, Indy's not in it. So
yeah, and I just think that, you know, life, you know, I know it's long and short at the same time, but when you have somebody that you're really willing to spend it with, like Tremaine and everybody was saying, and like even though we're children, like of my parents, I'm a child of my parents and everything. When they went through those trenches, we were there too, so we got to see some of those things, and it does build character together. And so when you have somebody that's willing to be on that same foundation with you, like you can't find that anywhere else. There's no one. You have to look at that person that you know that God sent you and be like, there's literally no one else out here like this. So why am I going to keep on searching and wasting my time? When we got together, we really didn't have money, like zero. Some people have money. They're just trying to be financially set for their own state of mind. We literally had no money to even do anything with anyway. So that's just different.
I would say if you're really concerned about a car or whatever the case is, just pray and believe that God's going to give you finances for both. Because when my car broke down, I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to get to work? And God gave me the finances to pay for a Mercedes and put a ring on her finger. And I'm not one of those balling guys out there. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not, just made of money, but God's blessed me where I'm able to pay for the things that I want and, support us.
Yeah, he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So there are certain blessings that are unlocked when you do get married.
Okay, we have a question about cheating. And I'd like for the two older couples, if they don't mind, to answer this, because we had a question about saying how many times should a woman stay when her spouse has cheated on her? How many times do you forgive them? I'm trying to look for it. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go ahead and speak on that one. Here's my thing.
I thought it was the mentor, but no doubt.
Okay, go ahead, baby.
No, go ahead.
No. This was this is for the women. So this was saying, how many times do you forgive your husband for cheating over and over? She felt that 2 times is then enough.
Well, I feel like it just depends on the actual relationship. So for me,
yeah, go ahead, babe. Sure. That's what our relationship was in the pain. Okay, real. Go ahead.
So when Jermaine cheated on me, it was a choice for me to make whether I'm going to stay or leave, because I was one to say I would never take a man to cheat on me.
Right.
If my past relationships before I was married, if a man cheated on me, he was like kick rocks out the door. But now that I'm married, I feel like if I'm willing to forgive him, like God forgives me millions of times, and I can move on and I don't have to be bitter about it, then I can do it. I'll do it. If he's willing to work with me and we're willing to work together to then build that trust again, then let's keep going. Because for me, I told Tremaine in the beginning, I ain't wanting to be getting married and being divorced. This is my second marriage. I ain't with all that. Like, we're here to the end. So either death do us part. So if you don't want to be dead, then we staying together. So that's what it was. And for me, I'm like, look, I'll forgive him. Now, let me be very clear. Okay? I forgave him the first time. I've never heard of a second time. If I ever heard, well, that's awesome. Awesome, sweetheart. If it wasn't that's great. I couldn't tell you that. I couldn't tell you, but I know for me, I'm about marriage. I'm about keeping my husband. And if I really felt like God told me this was my husband, And so, yes, we make mistakes. I'm not perfect. He's not perfect. And if he can take me with all my flaws, then why can't I take him with his? If God can forgive me, 10 times out of a million, then why can't I forgive him? And honestly, it took a lot of prayer, forgiveness, speaking it daily for me to really move on with it. And honestly, that's really where it came in my relationship with Christ that gave me the will and the strength to keep moving forward, because I didn't want to be a part of the relationship anymore. I didn't think I was ever going to get over it. Now, granted, did I bring it up in the past, like way in the past? Yes, I did. But it was just a reminder. Listen, my dude, don't get it twisted. You jacked up already the first time. Let's not make it a second. Let's get it together. Let's focus. Let's figure out what we're gonna do. So, yeah, what do you want to say?
That was good. Okay, so wait a second. Then I need to go to Pastor Kyrus. So we're going to address the ladies first, and then guys, I'm going to come around and you guys go. So, Pastor Kyrus, what is
if you're going to forgive, then don't say nothing else about it, basically. Right?
Wait, say it again, Lulu.
If I'm willing to forgive, then there's no need to keep repeating it. So if you're going to forgive him, you need to forgive him truthfully and don't keep repeating it. Now, granted, I was a little rusty on that end. I was. But his patience his ice overcame my fire and it worked out. But I'm just saying, if you're not going to do nothing about it, then shut up and keep it moving.
Okay. If you ain't really leaving, don't keep doing a whole lot of talking. If you ain't really gonna go nowhere, just get started working on it, is what she's saying.
And I had to see, and I did have to check out Tremaine's, like his positives, like all the great things that he has, like all the stuff that he had to offer to me. He does love me. I don't care what anyone said. At one point, I was that person that say, "Oh, if you cheat, you don't love me." But that's not true. That's not true at all, because I do believe my husband loves me. I do believe he loves me more than anything in this world, because the stuff that Tremaine has done for me, and it's not even like tangible or financially, just the emotional support and the emotional love that he shows me is enough for me to say, this man loves me. And although he comes with his shortcomings, I'm gonna love him in him just like he loves me in mine. So,
okay. All right. Well, Pastor Kyrus, what are your thoughts? How many times do you allow your husband to cheat on you? Like how many times is enough before you leave? If she was saying 2 times should be enough.
She's muted.
We can't hear you. Okay, go ahead.
Go
ahead.
Oh no, I was saying 1 time should be enough. It's unfortunate that it has to happen anytime, but
right.
My thing is 1 time should be enough. And then, there needs to be a serious conversation.
Yes.
Even if kids are involved or whatever's involved, depending on the situation. But 1 time should be enough. If it happens again, then I think you do have to consider leaving or consider doing, because evidently to me, if you love me, you're not going to keep cheating on me. If you care about me, you're not going to keep cheating on me. So that's how I feel about it. If you did it 1 time and I stayed with it because I had kids or whatever the reason is, and I stuck in there, fine. But the second time, you got to go because I gave you another chance. So that's just how I feel about it. Twice is twice too many.
Okay, Janelle.
Yes.
Okay, good to have you back. So we were answering a question. And she was asking the wives and women how many times is enough with the cheating before you actually leave. So how many times is too many? She was saying that 2 is too many.
Okay, Bri, I'm going to say your favorite word. For me. For me. Oh, that's hard. It's hard because I want to just say and just be real and just say 1 time I just can't. But I'm just hard like that. I mean, I don't even want you to lie to me, and then I'm done. But I think I believe it's a growth thing too. It's where you are in your relationship with the Lord. I like to think that my relationship with the Lord is strong, but there's some things that I wouldn't be ready to forgive right away. Maybe there just needs to be a separation, until we can come into some type of agreement. Mm-hmm. But that's where I am, with that. But you know what? This is it. Because I know me. I know that I wouldn't let it rest.
Ooh.
Even if I felt like, okay, it happened. And like Pastor Kyrus was saying that it depends on the situation and if kids are involved. And that is true. So in the back of my mind, I would be thinking, keep the family together because we have children. You know, maybe I wasn't, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't being wifey. I don't know, you know, at the time, and it caused you to go outside of our home. But will I be able to let it rest?
I'm sorry, Pete. A lot of times it doesn't have anything to do with the woman. It don't have anything to do with the woman. So if a woman out there watching, I just want to say, if you think it's your fault that infidelity happened in your household, and you're the reason why the woman never caused that to happen, no matter what, because you have a choice. A man have a choice to walk away. A man, it's all on the man, no matter what you've been going through in your home. You don't deserve it at all, and it's not your fault. So and that's just not to you, that's just to every woman that's watching right now. Mm-hmm. And if they're going through it, it's not your fault. I'm telling you right now, because I know men.
Well, I'm going to agree and disagree with that.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. Well, go ahead, Deacon Burr. Jesus.
I feel sometimes, I mean, it's like men sometimes. Sometimes men say, I want a good woman. They get a good woman, they really don't treat them like a good woman. A woman says, I want a good man. You get a good man that's doing all he can do. And in a relationship, it comes with two parts, your part and their part. You know what I mean? So you have to be making sure you're not all nasty and treating them terrible and dirt, because everybody wants to feel needed and wanted. Not just financially, not just mentally. You know, you want to have someone in your corner. And no, it's never right to go outside a relationship. You should probably leave before. But sometimes your flesh getting in the way, your emotions getting in the way, stuff happens. But you got to make sure for sure that you're with the right person, and they have your back, you have their back, because a woman can, in my opinion, run a good man into the street. I have seen it happen, because I know guys that would get off work, bring all the money home, do all they can do, and you get home, you get a bunch of Bible study. You know what I mean? Because that's just those initials. I don't want to say the word, but you get a bunch of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you're really prayed up and strong inside. A man got to make sure he's strong inside, to make sure he don't let nothing outside influence him to get about it, because there's always women and stuff like that pumping your head up, you know, because either you don't run your mouth or the girlfriend know you, didn't know your wife, whatever. You're like, you should be having this, you should be having that. And sometimes that stuff play on you, you know what I mean? So you got to really be strong men out there to not let that stuff interfere with your wife or your family, because that stuff can really break you apart. But the women, on the other hand, you got to really realize that good men are hard to find. When you got a man out there walking around with his pants all bagged down to his knees, taking his hands in his pocket, you know what I mean? He don't really have nothing. He don't have no desire to have anything. He's not really pushing and working hard. You're just with him just to be with him. You know what I mean? So you might end up getting cheated on because you got the wrong guy.
But
or you pretend like you're not doing the right things in a relationship.
I just don't really agree with that at all, because once you made that covenant before God, good or bad, when a marriage is ebbs and flows, like it goes in and out, and you're in different seasons, you experience all seasons together. So even say if someone has a chemical imbalance and they're like, I'm just talking science real quick, their libido or testosterone isn't high or whatever, and then you have to deal with that accordingly. You can't just be like, somebody else is pumping my head up right then. Or that person's going through certain depression or whatever the case is. But honestly, as a man thinks, so is he. So therefore, if you get cheated on and stuff, it's not your fault. One, you should just be man enough or woman enough to say, hey, I just don't want to work on this relationship anymore, because cheating doesn't happen instantaneously. Like, I'm just going to use your example, Tremaine, like the girl walking across the street and all that kind of stuff, right? Those are the little things that build up, and they keep on building up if you don't address it. And I'm not saying you didn't address it, but I'm just saying that's a little example. Somebody just being in your DMs, being like, hey, they like your little story. Then they're like, your family's so funny. You're blah 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 blah. That's how things start. And when you don't cut things off at the root, whether you have to sound rude to people and you don't have no opposite sex friends, that's what it is. You have to. Hold on. The flesh is honestly weak, and so if I allow any temptation, if Brian is getting on my nerves, and somebody that looks good or is talking to me or whatever, I'm in the gym or wherever I am, and they're hyping me up, and then I go home to him and we arguing all the time. I could play into that because I don't want to give my flesh and my body that much room and that much faith that I can get myself out of this temptation. Go ahead, Tremaine.
No, I'll just say sometimes it does happen instantaneously. You know, like the way you said, no, it like, yeah, sometimes it happens. You don't even want it to happen. And I know I was wrong on so many levels, but I was wrong because I put myself in a position. You know, basically somebody came in butt naked and said, "Take me, baby, take me." And I'm like, yo. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I'm sorry, but I'm just if that's not instant, I don't know what it is. I didn't even say anything. And Lulu know because Lulu found her. I didn't know she found the girl and had the girl picked up on the truck. And I'm like, yo, baby, stop. You know, but it's like, I don't know. But certain things happen like that. That's why in the beginning, I kind of just like I say, baby, I just want to be in the house with you. I really don't want to be out there. You know what I'm saying? Because stuff can just transpire and it happens so fast. Like things can happen extremely fast out here.
I'm gonna say this. Yes. No. I can't say it just happened so fast. Hold on. I love you, sweetheart. Okay, but let me just address this real quick. Let me tell you something. I don't know how many men speaks to hot sauce. And I'd be like, deuces, my dude, I ain't even trying to hear it. For one. But two, if it's already in you, then it's going to come out of you. So you need to address that within you so that it don't come out of you. So if he was, you know, granted, we wasn't in good terms the first 3 years of our marriage. It happened like the first year of our marriage. It was so petty. We've been married 7 years. Granted, he did put himself in a predicament, but my whole thing is, if you didn't have yourself in that predicament in the first place, that's what I said, right? You went right, but what I'm saying is, your mindset was already in that place. So when you think, like I tell him all the time, it's a thought that becomes present, and so I can't say that it don't, you know, that you don't mean to. No, it's in you. It's in you already. So you need to deal with that. What's in you. And Tremaine know, like when I first met him, I couldn't understand why these girls was falling for him because I didn't think he was God gifted women. I'm not, and I'm not saying that. Apparently, but don't be like I'm saying. I don't. Apparently, the girls wanted my husband, and that's fine. I'm glad that they think he's fine because I think he's fine. But my thing is, address what you know, when we had this conversation, I said, you need to address what's in, you know, what's around you. And he's a type person that he don't mean no harm. He wants to help people. But when you help somebody, it makes them think like, oh, he's helping me. Oh, maybe he got a little crush on me. And I be telling him, yes, watch out for her. Watch out for her. This is who she is. She got a crush on you. No, she don't, baby. I'm trying to tell you, like I know my name, Lucilla Alger Harvey. That chick got it in for you, just like you be telling me. And I be like, no, they don't. But I keep my distance because I ain't got time for the foolery. Okay, I tell him, and it's okay because I'm there to let him know because maybe he don't see it. Maybe he is blind to it. I don't know how, but maybe he is blind to it. I'm not gonna say he's not, but I'm gonna say if you are, I'm gonna address it. My dude, that chick that you was like, you know, like even the little issue with him looking at the girl, that's something, it didn't happen recently, but we talked about it. You need to address that. It happened 6 years ago, just so everybody knows. Right, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying. Because I'm keeping count, just in case it come back up. Yo, boo, it happened October 30th. It was Halloween. Everybody was going costume shopping. I didn't know, but I'm sorry.
Then it's not come out of me.
Tremaine, I love you.
Yeah, Bree, can I say one more thing? I remember
Aaron was gonna say something. Oh, Aaron, no, you have no. Okay.
No, I was just saying, like, even just basically whatever is in you is already rooted and everything like that. So that's what I mean. It doesn't come out of nowhere, because also there's a thing called familiar spirits, and what you have been around, all that kind of stuff, it does get attracted to you. And if you don't cut that thing off at the root, it will follow you. And, and I remember even with the warnings that you were saying, Lulu, to Tremaine, Brian had a client that I knew back in my school years and everything, and I said, hey, basically she could have came to me for training, or she could have came and she chose to come to him. I said, I know this girl like the back of my hand. I know what she's about. I've been to middle school and high school with her. I said, you laugh with her, you joke with her, she's going to think certain things. Yeah, you can say that people change, but a lot of times in certain ways, if they haven't, and she's not Christian based, getting stuff, taken care of, they don't change. And so I just want to give him a heads up. I said, but if you mess up, that's on you. It's not on anyone else. I said, because you have been warned.
Right.
You can burn. You had something to say?
I mean, to me, I agree with all that India said and Lulu said, and to me, like I said, I try my best to stay away from situations that could go wrong. But, on the other hand, on the other hand, I'm a friendly type of guy, and the wife sees people as taking things wrong, and I see them as just being nice and friendly, and because my heart is just to help. So I don't want to feel like I can't help someone because they have a certain feeling for somebody. You know what I mean? I'm not the guy. Regardless of how they feel, I'm still not the guy, but I still can't just turn my back on someone if they need help.
Oh, Tremaine, you turning your back on that.
I think Andy was saying that you just basically setting people up for success, basically. So when you do know a situation, so mommy, Pastor Kyrus is going to sit back and she's going to be a little bit more observant. My dad is just a jump to it. Okay, you see someone needs help. So both of y'all's perspectives are different. How you were raised is different. How you handle situations is different, and that's fine. But I think it all still boils down to honor and respect. And when you hear your spouse saying, "Hey, I understand you're helping that person, but let me just set you up for success," and say, "Listen, you already know. I know this person feels this way about you. So just be careful, because you don't want to fall. The enemy is walking around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So if he can set up pitfalls for you along the way and destroy, even when Aaron talking about kingdom marriage and just how much God cares about union and marriage and just the covenant agreement in marriage, it is important to set your spouse up for success, but I think sometimes we can be very prideful, thinking that we can handle things that we can't. And so then situations come up and we're like, oh, we got this, we can handle this. And then the girl walks butt naked in the room, take me now, but you're in a room you should have never been in the first place. So it's just, but it's just, stuff does happen. No one trips and their pants falls down and, 1 through 3 happens. But what I'm saying is you getting to the point of the fall could be prevented. And that's on both sides. A wife being unpleasant and making her spouse feel like he needs to look elsewhere. He doesn't feel respected or valued in his home and isn't welcome with love, or whatever the case could be, or the man not making the woman feel valued. So she takes those compliments and you slide into her DMs and it goes too far, so really there's so many different ways and different pitfalls that could happen. And we're not on here to tear our spouses down or to tear our significant others down, because they're on here because they've seen it, they've succeeded. They're on here because they're walking in success and they've been through different situations, and that's why they're on this platform. And that's why God, had me to ask certain people to come, because they've been through things and you see them still standing. Even with Janelle, okay, she's been through a divorce, but she's not hardened and bitter. She can still come on here and say, in my next relationship, Indy and B. Lou, they're striving to get married and they're working to have a strong marriage. Aaron and Kelsey are young, but you see that their foundation is built in God, and they're older people who don't have that. Lulu and Tremaine, they're 7 years in, and stuff has happened and gone different ways along the way, but they kept standing to see the salvation of the Lord in their marriage and seeing God work. My parents, 35 years in, have been such a blessing, ups and downs and whatever else, but they're still standing. So it's important that you don't, when you get married, you can't get into it if you don't have a stick-to-itiveness, if you don't have a strong enough spirit to handle it. Marriage just ain't for you. Stay single, boo. because
Right.
you do have to really be selfless and be strong enough to be selfless. It's not easy to do that. It's not easy to be open and vulnerable and attempting to get to become one, you know? So I just thank everybody for coming on this platform and all of your transparency. Pastor Kyrus, you had something to say?
I just wanted to say one thing. Right. But everything we talked about, there's different, situations, different things happen. But Matthew 5:28 says, this is a New Living Translation. It says, but I say anyone who even looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. So I know we're not going too far on that, but just the eyes, you just have to be careful of where your eyes are focused at. And I know, just like Deacon Byrne, he wants to help the whole woman world. You still have to be careful, what your eyes are seeing and what your eyes are looking upon, because this lady he helping, she might cook. His wife don't cook, so she might look real good. She might look extra good than him because she got some
Wait till man's heart.
No,
that's not true, Daddy.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, but other than that, I know we're ready to close, but I did want to say that verse, so we do have that verse, so that we just know that you just have to watch the lust of the eyes.
Yeah,
okay.
Bree.
Go ahead.
I wanted to add that this too. Another verse that kind of goes along with Mommy was singing, and this is what I have in my. I have this a note in my phone that's called mindsets to keep, and they're just good things that I try to think on all the time. And one of the things I wrote down is I said, my flesh is too weak not to be disciplined in what I look at, think about, listen to, and do. So I try to go back to that every day or so and read my little list of things that I want to keep my mindset on, because, and then there's this verse that goes right under it, and it's 1 Corinthians 10:12, and it says, therefore, let him who thinks he stands take heed lest he falls. So that person who thinks that they're immune to sin, you need to be on guard at all times, because you're really not immune to sin, because you will fall. If you start thinking, oh, I can handle that. I treat myself like a little kid at a candy store. No, I can't go in there. I can't do this. I can't, because I know that God has so much in store for this marriage. I know that God has so much in store for the children that will be born from us. And I know that there's a lot at stake. I know that I'm not wrestling against flesh and blood. I know that this world is temporary, and I'm storing up myself treasures in heaven. Now, I'm not saying we're not perfect or whatever, but at least this is a step for me personally where I'm like, all right, Aaron, remember these things, because you do have to be disciplined in what you see, look at, do. That's why, for the most part, almost every day, I don't have Instagram on my phone. I don't have Facebook on my phone, unless for these specific days or when I'm putting out stuff that's for ministry or whatever, because I'm just like, well, I don't even need it. And if I do need it, God can use it the little times that I do, and he can make a big difference or whatever, because it's just like part of me being disciplined. Or when I'm out, I'm like, I'm not going to look at no other chicks or whatever, because I'm like, I know that I just think that when you are looking at other people's stuff, or whenever you're looking at other women or whatever, let's not even talk about women, but anything, right? And anything you're being covetous, coveting other people's stuff or whatever. And if you're married, you're looking at another woman, that's not your woman. So therefore, when you're looking at somebody's bigger house, or you're looking at some of this stuff, that can make you feel depressed about your stuff. Right? I'm like, I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be anything like that. I think Kelsey's beautiful and lovely, but if it can happen to anybody, it can happen to her. If she starts looking at other dudes, there's plenty of other guys that look, they all right. You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
You know what I'm saying, Aaron?
There's nothing compared to this. But
you feel me, Aaron?
Wait. But at the end of the day, she could trick her mind to believing there's something better than this. Same for me. I can trick my mind to say,
I get beautiful and lovely. He gets, there ain't nothing like this.
There ain't nothing like this. But no, the reason I do that is because I know that there's nothing like Kelsey out there for me personally, and I know that I don't want to ruin that. That's what I'm saying. It's so special, but we can get so caught up in this world that we forget what you have, and it can happen to anybody, and the best of us. But I just wanted to share those couple verses, and also for the instance of if things just kind of popping off at an instance or whatever, it really can't happen like that. But at the end of the day, we always have an opportunity. The Bible tells us that God gives us the opportunity at all times to flee from that temptation. So at no point in time, we can always run from the situation, just like Joseph. Just like Joseph, we can run from that situation. And it's like, it takes practice or whatever. We all make mistakes. Shout out to Tremaine for 6 years, because that's why I was like this. I was rooting for him over here. I said, it's been 6 years. Get off my boy. And I just
right.
Yo, hey, Aaron,
Right.
thank you.
It's Halloween.
Okay. in that costume.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it is just that important. It really is important to watch your eyes, be disciplined. Like I said, I don't give myself no liberties. I ain't looking at no more naked scenes on TV in the movies. I'm not grown enough to see them. I'm not grown enough to see him because I'm trying to protect my marriage. I'm not grown enough to see him. I don't think Kelsey's grown enough to see him. We all should be covering our eyes, in my opinion, because I'm just like, the devil is out here trying to destroy my stuff. That's what he wants to do. And just for clarity, I think Kelsey is the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Right, just to clarify,
Amen.
everybody out here, if it's not anything other than that, I was just saying none of us are above temptation, and it really can come at all of us at all times. No matter man, woman, whoever you are, you can always trick yourself into believing that you don't have what the other person, somebody else out there has. It's just a lie from the devil.
Thank you guys again, just for all your transparency. And even Sam said, I think this is so valuable because it's awesome to receive and see other couples and the differences in men and women, and it being brought to the forefront of what reality is and true challenges and differences. I love the transparency here. Thank you to Bree and all the panel participants. We love you, Sam. Thank you to all of our guests and all the questions tonight and the comments and all of our viewers. And I want to thank my panel guests and their vulnerability, transparency, and just giving real advice, guys. Y'all, men, I want to give y'all a round of applause. Y'all came through with some good advice tonight. Okay, ladies, just in case somebody's stringing you along, you dealing with a boy and not a man, said Tremaine. Okay, so certain conversations you don't have to have if you're dealing with a real man. And Deacon Byrne, I appreciate you, even though you got the pressure on you with Pastor Kyrus. Thank you for saying your piece.
Woo, amen. Amen. I'm sticking it here for y'all. Sticking it here. That's my girl.
Before we pray out, Bree, I just want to say to the young guys out there, it wasn't worth it. At the end of the day, you know, it wasn't worth it. The pain, the trust was broken, and we had a house that we built. And when I'm saying a house, I'm talking about in the spirit, the spiritual form, and it just crushed, and we had to rebuild it all over again. And I had to sit in that pain. I had to see the tears. I had to understand it. But, you know, and one thing that I'm so blessed and I'm so happy about is that she was strong enough to sit in that pain with me. And she was strong enough to be vulnerable and let me see her in that pain. And honestly, as I looked into her eyes at that time, man, that was the first time I started crying. And I'm not a crier, but I'm like, yo, I'm sorry. Like, I'm really sorry about this. And I'm telling you right now, you can have the phone.
He was ready to get it all out.
I don't even care. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it because I'll do anything for you. And that's just how I felt. And I'm letting you know, just the repair for that, you know, it was tough. And I'm just blessed. And I thank God every day for this beautiful, amazing woman. Even though we all fall short, you just got to realize, like Aaron said, what you have. And I'm going to just be honest with you, Aaron, real quick. You know, and it's kind of funny, you know, I'm grown enough. I can see a little something without doing that. I just want to say that real quick. And yeah, you can get up and run away. But, you know, back then, my mindset was like, yo, if you see something right in front of you, and again, it was like 6 years ago, man, you gay if you get up and leave. So I didn't want to have that. No, but not because you got to watch what you say. But back then, my mind wasn't here. I didn't know Christ. My wife used to pray and put oil on me when I was sleeping just to get me to come to church. But when she got me to come to church and I saw the transparency and I saw everybody just living and learning and growing, I loved it. And I'm happy now. Amen. So everybody out there, man, just do the right thing like Spike Lee, baby.
Deacon Burns said, Tremaine, he's on your side with that oil. He didn't have the oil too, Tremaine.
On a regular.
She got it from PK.
Sure did.
Put an ounce on him a day, girl. Sure did.
All over.
Oh my gosh, you guys! I thank you, Lulu. Would you mind praying us out really quick? Giving us a quick quick heated prayer?
Yeah, sure. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for each and every one that was up here today to share their stories, Father God, and their wisdom, Father God. We thank each and every one that was watching today, Father God. We ask that you just bless them as they go about their day, Father God. Keep them, continue to just be with them. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Amen and amen. Thank you so much, guys. We love you, and we'll see you back here next week, next Wednesday at 7 again with Live with Kyrus.
That's simple. It's the back rubs and kisses in the evening, and the silly things you say just to make me laugh. Look me in the eyes and say you'll never leave me. Give me love, give me a girl. Yeah. It's my t-shirt you wear when you're sleeping. It's the way the moonlight hits your silhouette. Love you till my heart stops beating. Give me love, oh yeah. I need love.